Yeah, I bet we ain't never left. Run the game, I be moving quick. Hector Bellerin, I be breaking ankles, breaking necks. It's unsettling. I'm a FIFA god. You can say that I'm heaven sent. I ain't played a weekend league in like a couple weeks. I've been coolin', watching soccer, sipping bubbly. FIFA 20 coming soon. You can get this work. Scoring game, winning shots, taking off my shirt. Bah. What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, One Star Week, and we are finally back with another video. What's going on, guys? Good to see you guys back at the channel. Welcome back, everything like that. Without further ado, we do got to talk about FIFA 20 because it is dropping in 19 days. It's 19 days until early access drops. I'm hyped. I'm excited. Everything like that. So I'm going to tell you guys who the cheap beasts are that you guys need to be looking at bringing into your side when it comes to early game FIFA. Disclaimer though, these are all going to be speculation. Like all these ratings are going to be speculation. I mean, FIFA hasn't dropped like the ratings of the next FIFA yet. They haven't dropped the ratings of the players yet. They haven't even done the top 100, which they normally do every summer around this time of the year. So I'm not sure what's going on with the PR FIFA, but FIFA ratings don't tend to change very much from FIFA to FIFA. I mean, the biggest boost they really give is +1, +2. The biggest downgrades they normally give are -1, -2. So I think a lot of the things I will be saying in this video are accurate for the upcoming FIFA and everything like that. So I'm going to start off by talking about the defenders, right? So the first defender I'm going to talk about here is going to be none other than Miranda. And I don't know if you guys got to use Miranda this year. He was 85 rated. He was a bit expensive when the game first came out, playing for Inter. But he was actually a really good early game center back. He had a nice clean tackle on him. He did have good enough pace. His only real con, I would say, is that he did lack a little bit of strength. But overall, for the price, he was a very, very good card, a very reliable defender. And I think because he's transferred to a Chinese league, this guy should be actually pretty cheap. I do expect him to get a bit of a downgrade because he is going to a Chinese league. So maybe 84, maybe 83 rated. But as long as they keep his pace around 70, they keep his defense very high. I think he's going to be a very, very good option. I think he should be easy to bring in onto any side, any hybrid, really. Because he does have a lot of Brazilian friends that play for a Chinese league. I mean, you have Paulinho, Talisca, Teixeira. Do I need to name more? It is easy to bring this guy into a hybrid, at least on 8cam. I think if that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for a very reliable center back, I think this guy's going to be a very good option for you guys. The next card I'm going to talk about is going to be Jason Murillo. And this guy was a bit of a cheap beast for a while this year. He started off in Valencia, then he went to Barcelona, and now he's gone to the Serie A. So, because of all this, I think his price should be a decent price. I mean, he's playing for Serie A, but when you look at his stats, I mean, he's going to have around 75 pace. He is going to have low 80s defense. He is going to have decent physical, so he does have all the makings of a cheap meta center back, and he could be a very, very good option for you guys if you want a cheap center back. He is Colombian, so he does link Davinson Sanchez. If you want to do something like that with your team, you do have the option of doing that. I think he's a very good option to bring in. I think you guys should check him out. The next card I'm going to talk about here has the potential to be the next Davinson Sanchez, to be the next Smaldini, to be the next Bailly. It's going to be none other than Akanji. I expect this guy to get a pretty decent upgrade. He had a great year for Dortmund. And last year already, or this year, his card was actually already a decent starter center back. He did have really good pace, really good physical. His defense wasn't that good. But given the fact that he will get an upgrade this year, I expect him to be a very, very, very meta card. I mean, we could be seeing him with like around 80 pace, with like around 80 defense and 80 physical. And that alone would make him a very, very, very good starter center back to bring in. And a lot of people are going to sleep on this, but he's Swiss. He plays in the Bundesliga, which means he will get the strong link to Mbabu. He will get the strong link to Zakaria. And that will be a nice little triangle you could build into any squad. And I think all of them will be really good options as far as cheap options to bring into your squad at the beginning of the game. So check him out. Speaking of Mbabu, that's the next card we're going to talk about. I think he has the makings of being an early game right back beast. I mean, you guys have used his team of the season this year, and it was great. I mean, he has the height. I think he's like around 6'2". He definitely has the pace. He always has the pace. He's going to have high 80s pace. He's going to have very good physical because of his height. The only weakness will be his defending. I'm expecting him to have maybe low 70s defense, but I don't really think it's going to be a big deal because, I mean, at the beginning of the game, I think low 70s defense on the right back should be very good. if you have the height, the physical that he has, I think he's going to be a very, very good option. Once again, like I said, he will have the strong length triangle that you can build. I think this guy's going to be one of the most overpowered right backs on this game, especially because he will be cheap. A lot of people won't be looking to bring in a Swiss Wolfsburg right back onto their side, but that's going to be their loss and your gain. The next card I'm going to talk about here is the Barcelona man, the new signing, the new left back. And we're not talking about Jordi Alba. We are talking about Firpo. This guy, this year, actually had a very decent card for Betis, I think it was. I mean, it was very well-rounded. He had like about 80 pace. All his other stats were in the 70s and 80s. He does have a very well-rounded card. And the thing that a lot of people don't know about this card is that he has 4-star skills. So if you need a fullback that can attack, that's going to have a very well-rounded game to him, this Firpo card is going to be very decent for you. I think he's going to be cheap because a lot of people don't use La Liga. There are a lot of left backs in La Liga that are Spanish that do have good profiles, so he might be slept on. And if he's below 10K, I think this guy's going to be a very, very good option for the left back position. The final card we're going to talk about here is going to be the PSG man himself, the new French center back. And it's not Kimpembe, but he might be the new Kimpembe, Diallo. This guy this year had a decent card for Dortmund. He's now transferred to PSG. And because of that, I expect him to get a bit of an upgrade. And it might have him rivaling Kimpembe. He's definitely going to have the pace. He's definitely going to have the physical. And I do expect him to get a decent upgrade to his defense where you could be using him instead of Kimpembe. And he might feel very similar to Kimpembe. Because if you guys use Kimpembe this year early game, you guys already know how good that card was. I expect this Diallo card to be very similar to that card at a fraction of the price because not a lot of people are really going to be checking for Diallo. So if he's pretty much below 10K, definitely check that card out. Now that I've talked about defenders, we're going to move on to the next category, which is going to be further up the pitch, the midfielders. The first midfielder I want to talk about is also in Ligue 1. He doesn't play for PSG. He does play for Lille. It's going to be Thiago Mendes. You guys use this team in the season, and you guys know the potential that this Thiago Mendes card has. And of course, he's not going to be quite as good as that at the beginning of the game. But because he got team in the season, and because his 78 rated non-rare card, when you look at it, it was actually pretty well-rounded. He had low 70s in most of his stats. He had decent pace. He has 4-star skills. And if you upgrade him to like an 80, 81 rated, this card could actually be very overpowered. They expect him to have at least 80 pace. He's going to have the 4-star skills. He's probably going to have interceptions in around the 80s. And like I said, he could be a cheap man's Conte with the 4-star skills to push up. I think this guy's going to be a very, very good card. A lot of people might sleep on him because of his league. Don't be one of those people. The next card I'm going to talk about is a big sleeper. I mean, it's a card that nobody ever uses because of his league. He normally played for Bruges. Now he's transferred to the Premier League. And I think he's going to be the poor man's Bakayoko. This guy is going to be like Bakayoko from 2 years ago when he got the Footies card. This guy's going to be him. He's going to have the pace. He normally has around 70 pace at the beginning of FIFA. He's going to have the tremendous physical in the mid-80s, which he has every single FIFA. He's going to have the height. He's going to have decent defense. And if you guys are looking for a destroyer CDM that's going to be cheap, I think this Nakamba card is going to tick all the boxes. A lot of people are not going to really know about him. So be the first one to grab him. I think it's going to be a great, great early game option. Next card I'm going to talk about here is probably my favorite early game midfielder on this game, and it was Anderson Talisca. I mean, there were rumors when he transferred to the Chinese league last year that he was only going to spend 6 months there. That he was going to go to Watford. I don't know what the hell happened to that. I mean, he's still in the Chinese league. He's still killing it. I expect him to be the cheap man's Pogba this year. He's going to have the pace, the well-rounded stats. I think his defense was kind of weak. I think his jumping was kind of weak, but he's 6'3". He has 4-star combination. I don't think you can really bring in a midfielder cheaper than him that's going to bring what he brings to the table. I mean, he's going to have the offensive capability with the passing, the shooting, the tremendous long shots. I think this card's going to be very, very good. And defensively, even though his stats are probably going to be in the 50s, I expect him to be decent defensively. I mean, that's how it was early game for me this year because a lot of the time in FIFA, all you need for defense is like a little bit of pace, a little bit of physical, a little bit of height. And he should be decent defensively. I don't think this card's going to be an exception to that. I think he's going to be great. And I think he's probably going to be a very, very cheap option for you guys to bring into your squad. Another card I'm going to talk about on this list is going to be another sleeper. Another card that everybody sleeps on for some reason. And it's going to be Kessie. He does play for Milan. So he does play for a good league. I'm not sure if he's got transferred because there's been a lot of rumors circulating. So I'm not sure what's going to happen there. But every single year, this card's going to be a very well-rounded card. I mean, when you look at this card from this year, all his stats were above the 70. He had very, very good physical. He had very, very decent pace. And he had just a good all-around game. I even used him at the end of the year for my All-African squad when everybody was using Team of the Season cards. And guess what? He was a very decent card. It was his inform, but when you take into consideration the power creep, it's going to be similar using his not inform at the beginning of the game. He has the height, the physical. I think he has a 4-star weak foot. I think he's going to make a good box-to-box CM. I think he's going to make a great attacking CDM. I think he could play a lot of positions because of his work rates, because of his well-rounded stats. I think you'd be doing yourself a disservice to not bring him on to your squad. Now we're going to move on to the Everton lad. You already know I have to bring at least one Everton player to this team, and it's going to be Baumann, our new signing, our gay replacement. And honestly, this guy was not used at all last year because he played for Mainz, because he's Ivory Coast. But when you look at his stats, I mean, what is he missing, right? He has the pace, he has the height, he has the really high physical, and he has decent defense. So once again, in the same vein as Nakamba, if you're looking for a cheap CDM destroyer that can play like Prime Bakayoko, this Baumann card might be your guy. I think he should be pretty cheap as well because he's probably going to be around 79, 80 rated. I don't expect him to be very expensive at all. And if that's the case, bring him into your squad. I don't think you're going to regret it. The final midfielder I'm going to talk about here is going to complete the triangle, the Swiss Bundesliga triangle. It's going to be Zakaria. This card this year, once again, was a slept-on card. And he's kind of similar to Talisca in that he has a very well-rounded card. Like, he has a lot of good stats. I think he's more defensive than Talisca, but he does have the height with the lack of jumping that Talisca has. And I think he can be played as a CM. He can be played as a CDM. When you look at his stats, they're very well-rounded. I mean, having this guy in your midfield with Mbabu, with Akanji alone, I think that triangle right there should be a very good backbone for a star squad. And I think, once again, he's going to be very cheap. Nobody's really checking for the Swiss players on this game. Nobody's really checking for Mönchengladbach players on this game. I think he should be under like 5K. And if he is, bring him into your squad. The final category of players, as you guys know, is going to be the attackers. So the first attacker I want to talk about is my favorite early game player. He was bar none. My favorite early game player is going to be Alex Teixeira. I don't know what the hell they did with his card. I don't care what anybody says. He's only 79 rated. He played like he was 85 rated in game for me. I used this card longer than I care to admit. Even as a super sub, he stayed on my team for months. And it was crazy because he has the 4-star combination. He has the pace. He feels really good on the ball. He has a decent shot on him. He has decent enough ability in the air to win the odd header or two. He's a very, very well-rounded attacker. He reminded me very much of Rashford from FIFA 18. And I think this year is going to be the same thing. I mean, he hasn't really done anything to warrant a downgrade. He's still going to be cheap because he is playing in the Chinese league. And I think if you do want to bring him into your squad, it's pretty simple. I mean, you can link him to Miranda. You can link it to Paulinho, to Lisca. A bunch of Brazilian players play in the Chinese league that could get him onto a squad on 8 or on 10 cam. And if that's the case, bring him into your squad. You will not regret it at all. Next player I'm going to talk about here is another one that was part of my early game squad. I think he's going to be cheaper this year than he was last year. He was 40K for a long time this year. He was extinct for a long time this year, and with good reason. He was the best La Liga left winger for a long time. He was one of the best left wingers on this game as far as budget options for a long time. It's going to be Quincy Promes. And he's moved to Ajax, so that's why I think he's going to be a little bit cheaper. But I don't think he's going to get too big of a downgrade. I think at most they're going to downgrade him to like maybe an 82. But he is going to keep his pace. He is going to keep his 5-star skills, his decent shot. I think he's going to be a very, very good early game cam, striker, winger, wherever you want to play him. I think he's going to be very, very good at that. And there's not going to be many options on this game that are going to be as cheap as him that can provide the kind of offensive power that can provide the kind of offensive firepower that he can. I think you got to definitely check this card out. Next card I'm going to talk about here is a bit of a sleeper, and I do think it depends on what kind of upgrade he gets. But if he gets the correct upgrade, I think Trezeguet, that move to Aston Villa, is going to be great. He did get Team of the Season this year, and that Team of the Season gives you a glimpse of how good he could be if he gets the right upgrade. He has the 5-star weak foot. He has the 4-star skills. He has decent height. And if they make his pace around 85 at least, they give him around 75 shooting, this card's going to be great. I mean, The 5-star weak foot with 75 shooting at the beginning of the game should be very, very good, especially for the price he will be. Because he does have a hard nation to link, a lot of people might sleep on him, but he is still Premier League. He's going to get the strong link to Nakamba. So imagine bringing in Nakamba and Trezeguet alongside those Swiss trio that I talked about with Akanji, Zakaria, and Babu. I think right there, that has the makings of a very, very good hybrid. I think if Trezeguet becomes like a 79, 80 rated card, definitely check him out. Keeping the theme of 5-star weak foots up, we're going to talk about a card that might be a little expensive, but because everybody tends to splurge first on attackers, I think you should check out this Ben Yedder card. I do expect him to be around 20 to 30K. I don't think he's going to be too much more expensive because he's moved now from Sevilla to Monaco, and nobody really uses Ligue 1. He is going to be easy to move into a hybrid if that's what you want to do because he is French. There's going to be a lot of French players in Ligue 1, obviously. And I expect him to get another upgrade or at least keep the same 83 rating or 82 rating that he had this year. He's going to have the 5-star weak foot once again. He's going to have the 4-star skills. He is going to have the pace, the nice dribbling, the good finishing. I think this card's going to be an absolute beast, an absolute terror. Once again, a lot of people are going to sleep on him because he's Ligue 1. Don't be one of those people. Another card I'm going to talk about here is going to be another 5-star weak foot player. It's going to be Jovic. He's now moved to Real Madrid. And because of that, I actually expect him to be kind of slept on because he's not really going to be the starter. I expect him to be an 83 rated, but he is Serbian. Nobody really uses La Liga. It might be kind of hard to link him to cheap players because Madrid doesn't really have that many good cheap players. I have the same problem with Bale every year where I spend all my coins on Bale and then I have nobody cheap to link him with. And if that's the case, I think Jovic might be slept on. And if he is about 20K, 30K, I think he's going to be a great addition to any starter side. He's going to have the 5-star weak foot. He's going to have the height. He's going to have the really good finishing. He's going to have decent pace, decent passing. I think he's going to be a decent addition to any side if you need a reliable striker that's going to be able to finish you goals from any position. And as you guys know, 5-star weak foot's always important for every year in FIFA. The height and the physical is always important every year in FIFA. This guy has a total package. Don't sleep on him. All right, so for the next two cards, I'm not exactly sure how cheap they're going to be, but they are still going to be cheap in the relative market of FIFA. So the first guy I'm going to talk about here is going to be Chucky Lozano. He's now moved to Napoli, so we can finally use him in our squad without compromising our team too much as a starter on full chem. I think a lot of people are going to be looking to do that. However, because he is from Napoli, because he is Mexican, it is kind of hard to bring him onto your side still. You have to make a lot of compromises. Not many people use Serie A. Not many people run Mexican sides. So I think he's still going to be relatively cheap. He's going to have the 90 pace, the 4-star combination. He's going to have shooting and passing in the mid to high 70s. I think it's going to be a great option if you're looking to bring some cutting edge into your attacking side. And I expect him to be maybe 30, 40K at most. If that's the case, he's going to be a great option to bring in. The final card I'm going to talk about is going to be another Everton lad. I'm sorry, you guys know I had to bring him into the video, though. It's going to be Richarlison. And I'm not sure what position they're going to give him. That's really going to dictate his price, in my opinion, because he started off as a 78 rated left wing this year. Then they moved him to striker. He became 80 rated. And then after that, for the rest of the year, if you're an Everton fan, you're going to know he played on the right wing because we had to bring in Bernard and Calvert-Lewin to the side in the starting lineup. So because he's played so many positions, I'm not sure what position they're going to give him. If they're going to be accurate to real life, I think they give him a right wing card. But if he is a right wing or left wing card, I think he's actually going to be pretty cheap. If they make him a striker, then I don't think he's going to be a cheap beast anymore. I think he's going to be pretty expensive. When you look at his stats, he's going to have the total package. He's going to have high 80s pace. He's going to probably have close to 80 shooting. He's going to have the 5-star weak foot. As you guys know, I love 5-star weak foots. What's there not to like? 5-star weak foot. He's got 4-star skills. His passing might be a little low, but he is going to have the aerial ability. He's going to have the physical. He's going to have the stamina. He's going to be one of the most meta cards on this game, I think, as far as cheap cards go. I think he's going to be the cheap man's Son because he's not going to be as high rated as Son. He's probably going to be 81, 82 rated. If they make him a winger, I expect him to be under 50K, and he might be the best player under 50K at the beginning of the game. I don't know. Maybe I'm being an Everton fan and being biased. I can't call it, but if he is under 50K, he does have these kind of stats. I think you should definitely check him out. So yeah, that's going to be my FIFA 20 Cheap Beast video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Once again, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll be back later with another video. But until then, peace.